the Social Democrats in relation to this motion. It's a very, very worthwhile debate in relation to what's going on with disability service in the country. And Minister, as you know, people that have a disability will twice as likely to face discrimination than me and you, and that's fact. And they will face discrimination in relation to consistent poverty, deprivation, isolation, employment, access to public services and housing. And I think housing is one of the key, issues in relation to those that will have a disability trying to access housing. I know in South Dublin County Council there's a kind of a dearth in relation to housing need for those that have a disability. And I could tell you many horror stories in relation to those that have a disability cannot get access to proper housing. And this is not just, I don't think it's just a kind of isolated situation in South Dublin County Council. I'm sure this is across the state. Just in relation to income, in relation to disability, I mean, at the moment it's €208. I always found it really kind of weird that during the pandemic, the vast majority of people got €350, and that was the bar that most people, you could live. But, you know, I think disability should be far, far more than €208. It should be up to the level €350. And, you know, I think that should be looked at in relation to the budget. And obviously the cost of living crisis is having a huge effect on those that are living with a disability, and you know that has to be adhered to. Just, I want to just touch on in relation to the housing adaptation grants in the local authorities. I think the incomes are far, far too low, and obviously adaptations go far, far beyond the grant that's available at the moment. And because of, again, there's obviously a knock-on effect in relation to cost of living. I know families that just cannot afford you know, the adaptation that they need for their children or themselves, and the thresholds, whether you're in a public local authority house or you own your own house, the grants are far too small, and they have to be looked at because families are going into debt. Families simply can't afford the adaptation or have to cut back on certain kind of modifications. And you know, and sometimes it's taken a long time to get these grants. So I really like you to look into that, because that's a really important thing for families and adults and so forth. So I think, Minister, I think there's many other things that I could mention. I think again, in ratifying the protocol for the UNCRPD, I just don't understand why we haven't done it. You know, there's only 2 other countries in the European Union that haven't done it. I think the action plan needs to be kind of published without delay. I think that's very important. And as I said, I think the income for those that are on disability or illness benefit has to be reviewed. That's probably your remit, but you understand where I'm coming from. You know, somebody that has is on that payment for a considerable amount of time, it's not a huge amount of money in relation to the cost of living in Ireland. It's very small, actually, and some people want to contribute. Sometimes, you know, because of circumstances, you know, they can't because of their disability. But that disability should be looked at, and it should be kind of much north than €208 to be looked at what happened in the pandemic. Thank you.